Okay, ladies and gentlemen, students, it is my great honor to invite our speaker for this session. As what I've said, he is currently based in Japan. So let me just introduce him. He graduated from Mindanao State University main campus with a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Media Studies, cum laude, and the Debater of the Year. He's currently studying his degree in Science in Development Communication from the University of Southeastern Philippines in USEP. He became a YSEALI or Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative Academic Fellow for Civic Engagement from the University of Nebraska at Omaha in the United States. For his work background, he became a university instructor from 2012 to 2018 in Central Mindanao University. On the same stint, he became the director of International Relations Office in 2016 to 2018. And prior to that stint, he was also the Public Relations and Information Officer. That's from 2014 to 2016. Before he went to Japan, he was the secretary of our Vice Mayor, Doc Policarpo P. Morillo IV. So he became the executive secretary at the Vice Mayor's office of the local government unit of Valencia City, Bukidnon. Currently, he is a culture and education exchange teacher of the JET program, Council of Local Authorities for International Relations, CLARE, Japan. He is one of the most active young people here in our city and even in the province. And when he was young, I should say when he was young, he became the Philippine Youth Ambassador for the SHIP for Southeast Asian and Japanese Youth Program, or SIAP, in 2018, where he traveled from Japan to the ASEAN countries such as Brunei, Darussalam, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Thailand. And also, he became the Philippine Youth Ambassador for the Future-Oriented Youth Exchange Program in 2016 in Seoul, South Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, fresh from Japan, currently living in Japan, I give to you Mr. Efren Leo John V. Aribal. Hi, Bash.
Hi everyone.
Oh, ayun.
Hi.
For everyone.
Can you hear me clearly?
Hello, Sir Leo. Kamusta?
Hi, I'm very fine. Happy New Year, everyone.
Good afternoon from the Philippines. Everyone, please greet our speaker in our chat box. I know that you can't open your mic, so please greet our speaker in our chat box right now. Also, for those who are on watching on our live stream, you may greet our speakers in our chat box right now. Ayan, Sir Leo, you may take it away.
All right. First, I would like to greet everyone a pleasant afternoon and happy 2022. So today, I will be talking about impromptu speech. Like, I will just share my insights about it. And thank you for the invitation, Sir DM. I'm actually nervous, so let me share my screen. Wait. Can you see
I've
my
given
screen?
not yet, Sir Leo.
Ah, okay, okay. For a while. Oh my gosh. Wait, wait, wait. Oh, I can share. Oh, hello. DM.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ah, okay. It's only you who can share.
I have given you the access.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you're already a host. Yeah, co-host.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay. Advance.
Ayun.
Ayun.
Perfect.
Sorry. Can you see it na? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
But you
Wait.
don't have a camera. I don't know why.
I'm back.
Ayun, perfect.
Sorry for the delay. Again, maayong hapon sa tanan. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to the students of Sir DM from Valencia National High School. I'm Leo, and today I will share some insights about impromptu speaking. So, yeah, DM already told you about my background. So, yeah, I will just talk about impromptu speech and I will share my insights. So, yeah, this is a very common speech activity, impromptu speaking. It's one of the types of public speaking, right? And they say when it comes to preparation, impromptu speaking is the hardest daw. Mo agree ba mo, Ana? Personally, I would say yes when it comes to preparation because when you don't have anything, especially knowledge about the topic, then it's very dangerous. That's why it's hard. And you really need to prepare. And they say it's the hardest because you don't have enough time to prepare because you will just depend on your stock knowledge. So, this is a catchphrase in the communications perspective, thinking on your feet. So, what is this? So, it means that you're able to organize your ideas as quickly as possible and speak about the subject. And as what I've said, without advanced time to prepare. So lisod siya no kung wala kay idea or wala kay knowledge about ana nga topic. And this speech is known as impromptu speech. So I know you already discussed about impromptu speaking in your class in oral communication. So sa atong mga learners, I want to ask what are the situations that you can actually apply impromptu speaking. So in your level, in the classroom, you could actually have it like in a normal conversation or in reporting, presentation, like in yung defense, di ba? So you'll be asked, and you know that you'll be asked, you know that there's an interrogation that will happen, but you are not certain of the questions that will be thrown to you. That's why it makes us feel nervous. That's why it's hard. That's what they say. And also, in the professional world, like impromptu speech could happen in a job interview, like when you also present or report. And for politicians, it also happened, like when they have ambush interviews, like on the spot. So yeah, so those are situations wherein we could see impromptu speech in action. And of course, in a casual setting, like inside the classroom, when someone would ask you, or even in public, someone would ask you, example, in a wedding, I think tanan man no nakaapil og wedding, and then mag-throw na din si bride sa flowers, and then makatch din sa uban, and then the audience will say speech, speech, speech. So yeah, you will be caught off guard. Oh, mag speech di ay. So something like that. So you are caught off guard. And there are also moments wherein you have casual talks. But accordingly, in pageants, impromptu speaking is very common. And I believe that every pageant season, the Filipinos are really getting crazy because we are really like supporters to this kind of activities, di ba? So daghan daw din kayog mga experts, di ba, in the social media. So dira dayon nato makita nga, this is public speaking, this is impromptu speaking. So I was asked, unsa day, what is impromptu speaking? So before, we learned that impromptu speaking is actually in a setting where there is a speaker and there is an audience. So that's basically public speaking. So, for examples in pageants, so a very appreciated kay na siya ana nga context ang impromptu speaking. Now, let's go to the next slide. Now, we have this term glossophobia. So it's actually the fear of social situations. And if you could see in the slide, Americans were asked about their fears, and the top 5 are the answers. So, but surprisingly, we have there 74% have public speaking fears. So, phobia. So, I would want to ask sa students ni Sir DM, kinsa ang dili mahadlok ipastorya sa public? Raise your hand dira lang sa React. Naa ba someone who's not afraid in speaking in the public? Because personally, I still have fears in speaking in the public, but you need to contain and you need to put an antidote in that fear. So on the slide, you could see the public speaking fears. I think you already discussed that one, the throwback fear, or the idea alone that you will be speaking in the public, that alone, and inside your head, there's a voice that will tell you, no, you should not do that. Because number 2, you have the fear of vulnerability and judgment. Because of course, again, it's public. There's a speaker and there's audience. So the people will really judge you physically, your answer, the way you talk, the way you move. And there's also this fear of uncertainty, like you don't know what will happen, right? It's normal. And then there is fear of unpreparedness. And I think this is really the fear that we really need to put a big fight upon, because in every battle, you really need to prepare. So this afternoon, I'll be sharing insights about how we're able to address this fear and apply certain tips on delivering our impromptu speech. Okay, but before we proceed, I will let you view this video, and I would put a disclaimer that we are viewing this video for academic purposes. So let's try to analyze later what happened the moment the persons in the video answered in the context of impromptu speaking. So again, for academic purposes, and um, let's see the videos. I think you already saw these videos, probably some of you, because these videos are all over the social media platforms. So this is the first video.
Miss Sambuanga, please pick your card. Hashtag El Niño, La Niña.
El Niño, La Niña. El Niño is what we are facing right now. If we do simple things like planting trees, then we will not experience drought, right? So if we start now, we will achieve La Niña. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Um, I know you have reactions, but if we try to analyze what happened there, so she was asked about her ideas on El Nino and La Nina, and you heard her answers, right? And after she answered that one, you could hear like people sort of laughing at the audience. So, what do you think? Probably the very basic reason why people did that one, because the answer is wrong. But I would like actually to commend the confidence that she had, that she was able to compose herself. But the content, the information is not just right. And yeah, that's why she had that reaction from the audience. Now we have here another video, and this is quite old, but yeah.
All right, here.
Number 15, Janina San Miguel. Janina, how are you?
I'm fine.
All right, so you won 2 of the major awards, Best in Long Gown, Best in Swimsuit. Do you feel any pressure right now?
No, I don't feel any pressure right now.
Confident. All right. Please choose a name of a judge. We have Miss Vivian Tan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The question is, what role did your family play with you as candidate to Binibining Pilipinas?
Well, my family's role for me is so important because they was the one who's very oh, I'm so sorry. My family oh my god. I'm so sorry. I told you that I'm so confident. Eto, wait. Sorry guys, because this was really my first pageant ever. Because I'm only 17 years old. And I did not expect that I came from one of the top 10. So, but I said that my family is the most important persons in my life. Thank you.
Candidate number 15, Janina San Miguel. Thank you so much.
All right, so we could see on those videos the reaction from the audience. So that is the danger when we are not that prepared, or we don't have any idea of the topic that is assigned, or the topic that we picked, or the questions that are thrown to us in the public. So that's really one of the consequences if we come unprepared in impromptu speech. And take note that in impromptu speaking, it's actually you are placed in a pedestal where you are time bounded. Like for 30 seconds, you need to deliver your answer as quickly as possible. But that is not just an answer, but that answer should be full of the content that the panelists need for pageants, for example. But in other situations, like in the classroom, when the teacher would ask you during your presentation or your defense, you have this set of panelists that will evaluate your answer. That's why it's very important for us to be prepared in an impromptu speech. So we have here the word prep, and this is a very common and basic technique on how to deliver an answer in impromptu speech. Just remember these four letters: prep, PREP. It's actually an acronym that stands for, first P is your point. So the first P is the point or your opening statement. It's actually your stand on the question that is thrown to you. Like, what is your answer in that question? You will say your point, and the first P there should also include your opening statement. And then the R stands for your reason. Why do you have that point? So you need to state your reason, and that is actually the body of your speech. And the E there stands for example. So if you still have time, give examples, because this will justify why you have that reason. And then the last P is point, or you need to have a conclusion or a closing statement that you need to link to your answer. But this last P is very subjective. Like, some people would not go back to the P, or some would not really directly link back, but they would introduce another point which is similar to the first point. So just remember this acronym PREP. And take note that you really need to pick the best words, and you need to have that quick analogy, because you're only given at most 30 seconds. But remember the context, like for pageants, like 30 seconds, like in the classroom, if your teacher will ask, in the work, in a job interview. So remember the context. But the best thing there is that you need to have a point, and you need to give reasons of your point. Always remember that one in impromptu speaking. And later, we will know some tips. Now, let us proceed. So that's the prep. Now, we have here an example. This is the question. What is the importance of impromptu speaking? Para makarelate na tanan. So, this is an example on how to answer impromptu questions, and then using the prep method. So we have here the point. The main point is that impromptu speaking is valuable skill to have. And then we have here reason why it's valuable skill, why it is a valuable skill. Because being able to speak easily in public is empowering. Okay, why is it empowering? So she had her answer here. I can remember the struggle to overcome the fear of standing to speak in front of others. I was the original Mrs. Blush and Blurt, but that is a dim and distant memory. Today, I am more confident, more vibrant, more alive, more willing to take risks and to learn. And then the last point, when a person is personally empowered to speak for themselves and others, they are stronger. So if you could see on this method, no, prep, upat ra gyud siya, very short. But actually, if you are in that moment, maningut gud siguro ka, no? Naagid kay fear, mahadlok jud ka. But at least you have a guide. You know a guide on how to answer impromptu questions like prep method. There are also other methods, but I would like to introduce, or probably for others who already know the prep method, this method. So just give your point, just give your reason, and then if you can provide example, that's good, and then have your point again, or you need to link back to your point. So later we will have examples of questions. So I hope you will remember the prep method. Like, this is the short term for me for preparation in an impromptu speech. Now let's proceed to the next one. Here we will discuss some patterns of an impromptu speech. So here we will know some patterns like answering an impromptu question. So the first pattern of an impromptu speech is the past, present, and future. So in this setting, you need to describe how something once was, how it has changed, and how it will be in the future. Okay, so that's the analogy of past, present, and future. Example of this question is that what is your New Year's resolution in 2020? So you will discuss the things that you did in 2021, and you will also discuss what are the things that you want to achieve in 2022, or that thing that you really want to change, or the thing that you wanted to continue in 2022, improving it or whatnot, something like that. Another question is that what is your birthday wish? So probably you could answer, during my younger years, I really want to have toys. I really want to go to parks. But now that I'm getting older, I'm getting wiser, and I appreciate the solace and peace, and I want a healthier life, something like that. So there's the element of ideas from the past to your present, and in the future, the things that you want to happen. So that's the past, present, future pattern in answering an impromptu speech. So there are still other questions, but I will just have this two. Another pattern in impromptu speech is the time. So here, you need to describe a chronological event, like the process or a sequence, something like that. So have in mind that you can have this pattern, time pattern, aside from past, present, and future. So time pattern. For example, you are asked about this question. Miss Manaay, Sarah, can you tell us about metamorphosis? And then you don't know, you don't have any idea what is metamorphosis. So that's really dangerous, right? But if you know, so you know that it's actually a process from a caterpillar turning to a very beautiful butterfly, something like that. So it's a technique, it's a pattern that you could answer through the time pattern. It's a sequence, like it's a process from that one to this one. Another question that you could see the dynamics of time is that this one. What happened in the Philippines from 1972 to 1981? Ano sa day nahitabo, no? I will leave you guys with this question. Ano pa lang nangyari? So, hala, I don't know what happened in the Philippines that time. So what happened in the Philippines that time? Jana, am I allowed to ask? Like, Jana Harovilla, what happened in the Philippines from 1972 to 1981? Oh, wala siya answer. Okay, so something like that. You really need to have knowledge on the things that, the possible things that will be asked sa imo, ano? So yeah, time. So I will leave that.
We
Yes.
have answers from the chat
Ah,
box.
oh, sorry. Okay. Hello. Okay. Ah, very good. Yeah. Marshall. Brilliant. Yun yung students ni DM ba? Yeah,
And
Marshall.
someone raised her hand. Where is Linko? Do you have an
Ah,
answer?
Yes, teacher.
Where are you? Please raise your hand so that I can spotlight you, please.
Spotlight.
My face
Be
is so
careful.
terrible, teacher. I'm not prepared. Yeah.
Sige, you may respond now. Go. Ayun, perfect. Yan.
Yeah. I will answer it, teacher. We all know that on that time, like in 1972 to 1981, we are not yet born.
Mm-hmm.
We are, yeah, we are not yet born, and for us, we are still we get information in that time because of our ancestors, because of our relatives, our families who who encountered or who experienced something or has an experience at that time, and I believe that it is in our lesson, and it is our lesson in Aralin Panlipunan, and that time it was the martial law. Thank you.
Oh, Linko.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Linko.
sir.
Bea.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Bea.
That was just my opinion, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I actually liked how Bea shared her answer DM, no? True. Di pa tayo na panganak that time, even ako. But it's always nice that you base it on documents, like what you said, based on the history. What happened in 1972 to 1981 is martial law. So blah 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 blah. So just take note that you are bounded by time. So that's really the challenge in impromptu speaking. You're bounded by time. Yeah. So thank you, Linko Bea, for sharing your answer. Yeah. I'll give you
Thank you,
okay. Next pattern that we could apply is location. So here, you are relating a topic into a different geographical setting, or you are localizing it, the term, quote unquote. So I'm not really sure if this was asked during Pia Alonso's stint in Miss Universe, but something like this. Are you in favor of the legalization of marijuana use? So you can actually localize, like in my country, in my state, something like that. Okay. So it's very important because you're able to give a context, a social context to your audience, why your answer is you are in favor or you're not in favor. Another question, when I was asked by this question, like when I was still a student, I did not have an answer at all because I don't have any idea what is this. How's brain drain affecting your country? Sige daw. Who knows what is brain drain? Naa ba? For sure na. What is brain drain? So the first time I heard this question, no, naglisod jud ko kay unsa man dining brain drain. Okay, so I will leave that again sa inyo ha unsa nang brain drain. Okay. Later probably I will tell you what is brain drain. Okay, so when you have this pattern location, so just remember that you are actually localizing the context on your level or to the audience's level. Okay, the next pattern is the problem solution. This is very common, the problem solution. Here, you're able to describe a problem and ways to solve it. Like, for example, what is the best way to save our natural resources? Okay, something like that. This question, there's a problem and what is the solution? So you are asked on the best possible solution that you could provide to the audience, or what are the alternatives that you suggest from this problem, right? So again, this question is very common in pageants and probably on the professional level. Like when you apply for a job, there's this you're given a context, you're given a situation, and then you need to provide a solution, something like that. And then the next, quite similar with problem solution. The next pattern is the cause and effect. So you need to describe a situation and its effects. Okay, like for example, in this time of pandemic, should the government prioritize economy or health? Or what is global warming? So you need to discuss there what is global warming, what are the effects of global warming, what causes global warming, but always remember that you are time bounded. That's why it's very important to select only the key terms and make sure that those terms you'll be able to discuss those terms. Okay. I think the first question in this time of pandemic almost similar with Samantha's question during her stint. Yeah. This is a hard question. By the way, in impromptu speaking, that's why it's considered one of the hardest too, because you will be asked anything under the sun, like all sorts of questions, unless there's an information coming from the organizer that questions will come from these topics, questions will come from these themes, right? But any question will be thrown to you. That's why it's hard, because you need to prepare. Like you need to read many documents. Yeah, so something like that. So this is the cause and effect. The next is advantage and disadvantage pattern. So in this level, you need to describe the positive and negative aspects of a topic. I'll give here a question where anyone can relate, a not so really formal question, like in a casual talk. Are you in favor of LDR? O diba? So, kinsa man ang favor of LDR dire? Raise your hand. DM, are you in favor of LDR? Oh, raise a hand. Mark Kent. Na TV dad, I think. Yes, Mark. Pasok.
Yes, Mark. Raise your hand so that I can spotlight you to our... Asa naman? Mark, where are you?
Actually, sir, I'm not favor in ODR because it's so hard to no, you're not in your. No, I can't. Sorry.
Leo, he's not in favor with that.
Yeah. I'm not in favor with LDR too. Oh yeah. I'm not
Dimas has an answer, I think.
again.
Jovel, please open your camera. Again, class, if you want to answer, please raise your hand, and then automatically you have to open also your camera. Dimas? Ayun, we have Dimas here. Spotlight. Hi, Jovel.
I think, sir, in favor ko. I mean, if LDR doesn't really mean nga layo mo, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. Kay for me, if you have trust with each other, then go on. Kay kung namo sa dool, sir, I don't think nga it works. It doesn't mean nga namo sa dool it works. It doesn't mean nga namo sa layo it will work. Tama sa duha ka tao, so I mean agree ko sa LDR, sir.
Wow.
Sana all.
Sana all. Thank you, Jovel, for sharing your answer, and also Mark. I like this. Like I'm getting wisdom from your students, no? Sakto. Kuan magud ako ang love language. Hala, maghatag kuan magud ang love language mo ng kuan kuya. So yeah, probably you have your answers, but personally my answer, As much as possible, I don't favor long distance relationship because my love language is quality time. I always want that that person is with me, or I could spend time with that person. Ano, di ba?
Yeah,
So
it really depends on your love language and how you express your affection. Such as there are person who are tactilic. They really love to touch people, to share their, yes, that's tactilic. And proximity is also one good example of sharing your love when you're too close with each other. But in our case with Leo and all of our friends, yan naman. I don't know.
when you get a bit older, parang your perspectives will change, di ba? DM told you guys when I was younger. Grabe no, I'm really that old. Anyway, yeah. And take note that in impromptu speaking, the questions could be like formal or non-formal questions. It could be personal or it could be a technical question. That's why you could really say it's really hard, because what if you will have a technical question, and good thing for others who will get personal questions, right? So it's a bit easier to answer because it's personal, so you experience that one, yeah, compared to other questions that are highly technical. Okay, so that's it, the disadvantage and advantage. So you'll talk about that one. And then the next one is the general questions, like anything under the sun. That's what I told you a while ago, right? Any questions, anything under the sun. So yeah, these are the examples of the general questions. It could be like a simple question to a highly technical question to a very specific question. It could be formal and informal, like simple question like, how are you today? Yeah, what's your favorite color? When is the best time for vacation? Why do you like BTS? Where is Mount Fuji located? Who is the most competent presidential candidate? Because we're nearing election. And this is my favorite impromptu question. When I was still a student, I was asked by this question: you're an ant. I'm an anteater. Convince me not to eat you. Like, what? Like, how? You could see on this slide the array of questions. Like, it could really be like any question. So you really need to prepare yourself, because if you will not prepare, then it's very dangerous, especially when it's a public and there's a very many audience. Okay. Now let's move on to the next part. What to do before the impromptu speech or before the activity. So I have here three. I have here three skills or three aspects that you really need to consider. First one is you need to develop your communication skills. Sir, did you ko chada mo storya? Sir, did you ko maayo grammar? Sir, dili did ko maayo mag-enunciate gahi kay kog dila. We all have these problems. We share these problems. But actually, always remember that we can practice. And I always believe that practice makes perfect, because when there is a repetition, then you'll be able to master that thing. Okay, relating it to the context of public speaking. Sir, dili jud ko maayo communication skills. But you don't have a choice, because in public speaking, you really need to talk and your communication skills will really be there. Okay, it should be there. So don't worry, because you can practice. And these are the different practice skills that you could do. First is read aloud, like inside your room. Make sure di lang mo siya buhatan in the public. Like you're in the room, you could read one paragraph. Try to put emotions on it. Try to play with your intonation, your pitch. You could also have dyads or conversation between two persons with your classmate. because it will really improve your communication skills. You could also have conversation dialogues. And this is my favorite, jam. I call it jam or just a minute. This could really improve your impromptu speaking skills, because in jam you'll be given, or you can pick like one word, like for example red, and in a minute you just need to say anything about that word, and that will really help you practice your communication skills, your thinking skills as well. So you really need to develop your communication skills in the context of public speaking. The next thing you need to develop is actually what we call now the content. Okay, so how can we develop the content? Okay, it all boils down to your stock knowledge. And this stock knowledge would come from your experiences, would come from the information that you've read, you've heard, you've viewed. I know, DM, that all your students have social media accounts, if not all, then majority. And I will always tell my students before that when you have this platform, please devote 10 to 30 minutes or whatever time nga imong gusto to read the news. Diba? You are facing your technological device. So take time to read, give time to read from the news or any information, because this will really feed you information. Okay, will be this will be the meat inside your head, right? So, but remember, don't just read, but reflect on what you are reading. Is it true? Oh, I think this is just an opinion. Oh, this is a fact. So after reading and reflecting, then research. You really need to validate the information, because once the information is not right, then it's dangerous. Like in our previous example, that's why probably the people were like having that reaction, because they know that La Nina is not like that and El Nino is not like that. Okay, and do it again and again. Read books, newspapers, or any document, watch documentaries, whatever. So like that. Okay. And the last one, which is very important as well, and many have this one. Okay, confidence, but make sure that your confidence is not false confidence. Okay, because when you are confident, then I think you're able to you have better chances of delivering your answers properly. So here you really need to know your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, like dili kaayo ko maayo mag-enunciate by, so kailangan nako ni siya i-address nga issue, or bako kay ko bay, so kailangan jud ko mag-practice. Ang akong strength kay kanang maayo man ko mustorya, maayo ko mag-enunciate. Okay, so take time to evaluate yourself. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Because it will really give you momentum. It will really give you points ba para in order for you to improve your confidence. So remember those three C's, like your communication skills, the content, and then confidence. And then I think you can really answer any impromptu question if you have this one, if you will give time to develop these aspects in your life. And take note that impromptu speech will not just happen like in pageant, but it could happen every day in a casual talk, or in the classroom setting, or in the professional setting. So yeah, take note of that one. Now, how about on that moment? Di ba hadlok kayo kay namang gitao nga makulbaan? There are really those persons who would have fear. Dili man gud tanan tao gyud no nga confident, because it's a process. We should always remember that one, that it's a process. So unsa akong buhaton during. Okay, I have here very simple, but for others, this is very hard to do. The 5 stars during the impromptu speech. I always believe that when you are calm, then there's a better chance for you to think. Okay? When you are calm, then you have better chances to think properly. Okay? And then take note, begin slowly. True that you are time bounded, like 30 seconds or shorter or longer, but always remember that you need to begin slowly. You should not rush, okay? Because the moment you rush things, you might forget other ideas, okay? The moment you rush things, you cannot enunciate the words properly. And when you're calm, you're able to think, okay? And then organize your thoughts using those patterns, the prep method and other patterns. And then be brief and to the point. There are so many scenarios that I witnessed that they have really good answers, but they forgot that impromptu speaking is time bounded. So before we really have someone told me that impromptu speaking is like a skirt, short, but it should cover the essentials. Like, what is that analogy? But it makes sense. It should be short, and it should really cover all the ideas, the reasons that you want to relay to the public, to the audience. And then finish your speech gracefully. So again, go back to the context. If it's in a classroom setting, it's a pageant, if it's an interview, if it's like a casual interview, so something like that. But what if I really have fears? Okay, so conquer those fears and always remember to develop your communication skills, the content inside your head, and your confidence. And I think you can really, if not really give your best shot, but at least you could deliver. You could deliver. You have an answer, and it matters in impromptu speaking that you can have answer, because it's already for me. I will celebrate those actions, because again, it's not really easy to be in front of a crowd and many will look at you. So the moment you have an answer, I congratulate you, but develop yourself into a better version. Like, you could still do better, so have those opportunities for you to grow and learn. Okay, and then I have here for example, in an academic assessment, like for example in the classroom setting, how will you be rated? I think you could also search this assessment in the World Wide Web. So for example, this one: 1 poor, 2 fair, 3 acceptable, 4 good, and 5 excellent. For example, in your oral communication activity, you could have this kind of assessment. But for in a pageant, they have a different kind of assessment. Like in the job interview, they have different kind of assessment. Or even in a casual talk, you will not know really what is the assessment, right? Yeah. So that one is, those are my insights about impromptu speech. And I hope I was able like to add like a little bit about impromptu speaking in the context of communication and public speaking. And I think, DM, I will end there because I already talked for long now. Yeah, I think I'm done. And thank you so much for lending me your ears. And I hope you'll be able to apply all, not really all, but you can apply what you learn from your oral communication class, because seriously, developing your communication skills will really help you, especially in the professional world. So you're given these chances, so go with these chances, and it's okay to commit mistakes. I always believe that great men are made by their mistakes, as long as you don't repeat those mistakes and you learn from those mistakes. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much, Sir Leo. they really need to apply what you just have discussed, because we have an activity, impromptu activity, especially for those who are taking online. So maybe we can proceed with the Q&A with our students. Class, if you have questions, you may throw it now in our chat box. And for those who are viewing us live on Facebook, you may also ask questions if you have questions.
Give your best shot, but at least you could deliver.
Anyone from the class?
Have an answer. And it that you can have
Siguro, let's give them time, Sir
it's
Leo,
already for me.
for their question. Maybe they are still typing or contemplating, or maybe
Again, it's
they
not
they
really
are
easy to be
thinking right now of those possible
many
questions.
things to look at.
Brain drain, thou sir.
Maybe we can
The brain drain.
you have questions,
Well,
throw it now.
FYI lang, Sir Leo is one of the
And
parang
for those who are
sought after hosts in Central Mindanao University when I was still a college. Emphasize, no? When I was still a college. And when, I mean, before pandemic, we were asked to train the Miss Valencia. How about Sir Leo? No? Miss Valencia ba to? And Miss Teen Valencia too.
Yeah,
So
I remember.
I
Was
miss
it?
those things.
Wala mang kuan karon no, face to face. Lisod kayo.
Yeah. Anyone from the class who would like to ask questions? Let me check first in our Facebook Live if meron. Ayan, so we'll just give you 10 seconds if you have questions. Ayan. Sir Leo, how would you recover daw if you stutter, or you stutter from answering a question? Nabubulol, or twisting of tongues, parang ganyan.
When you are nabubulol, when you stutter, I was told that when you stutter, the immediate thing you need to do is to pause, because you are probably thinking, of course you're thinking many things, but inside your head, there are a lot of things happening inside your head, and you're like in a hurry because again you are time bounded. So pause, okay. And I was also told that you should not apologize, okay. You should not apologize that it happened, that you stuttered. So if you know that you have those kinds of communication challenges, then before the activity, before the event, you should have research for you how to overcome stuttering. But on the moment, the immediate thing for me is to pause. Okay.
Thank you, Sir Leo. And we have another question from Saipola. Among the patterns of impromptu speech, could you tell us what's the best patterns to apply among them?
Okay. Take note that those patterns could be really situational. It will depend on the question. Like I could not say that this is the best pattern because it is dependent on the question thrown to you.
Perhaps if you are asked, siguro, Sir Leo, no, if what will be the best solution, then the best pattern might be the how do you call it, the
problem solution.
problem solution.
Yeah. I would like to emphasize that in impromptu speaking, you are given, like, again, different questions unless you were instructed that these are the themes. So yeah, I understand you what is the best, but for me, I always have my mind the prep method, because regardless of the pattern, I have a prep idea in my mind. I need to have a point. I need to have a reason. If I can give examples, good. And I need to have a closing point. So something like that. Always remember the prep, or others have PEEP, or others have their method. But me, I've been like using prep method ever since.
Another one. Can you give us tips on how to speak our thoughts out loud, but at the same time thinking inside our head, what are the things to say? It's really difficult to multitask without confusing ourselves of our ideas due to nervousness. Thank you for your answer, sir.
Okay. Personally, thinking aloud activity, I do it like in my room or with my group of friends. Um, I was told that one of the best techniques to do this one is to write your thoughts, because our memory, we should not depend everything on our memory, because our memory will fade, right? So you need to write all your ideas, and when you write all your ideas, then you read it aloud. I think it will really help. Yeah, I understand that there are many thoughts coming inside our head. So that's why we need to write it in order for us to remember it.
Next question. Mhm. Ah, how can we avoid the possibility na medyo lame ang question, I mean ang answer, if you are in an impromptu speech? How would we avoid the lameness of our answer? Or
Yeah.
lame becoming senseless, somewhat like that?
Yeah. Again, that's the danger. That's the challenge, rather, in impromptu speaking. You don't know the questions that will be thrown, right? So I will go back to my answer. Have a prep method. Always be ready with any method, but I go with prep. And then research. Some people would have a template answer, but you will know that that answer is a memorized answer. But I will really say that you really need to research. You really need to read. Yeah, because through this activity, you'll be able to feed your mind with information. Okay. So always know the context. Unsa di ay na siya, like sa inyong presentation. If it's your presentation, then you need to study about your study, about your topic. If it's a job interview, then you really need to study about the company, right? The vision, mission, goals, probably, etc. If it's a pageant, then of course, definitely you need to study more, because any possible topics. So in order for you not to have a lame answers, keep on reading and keep on researching. Yeah, because that's the only thing that we're able to feed our mind. But on the moment, just have your method with you so that you can deliver an answer.
So we can probably say, Sir Leo, na impromptu speech is not just um, speech preparation, but this is also mental preparation, right?
Yeah. I believe that compared to the other forms of speeches, you will be given time to prepare. That's the word. You are given time and a preparation. But here in impromptu speaking, it will really depend on your stock knowledge.
Yeah. It might be an advantage if, or beneficial on your end, if you attended or you joined a pageant where you're given categories like general or broad topics. Tapos you have something to say on it, para dito na lang ka magtuyok-tuyok ang imong mga responses. Like for example, social issues, right, Sir Leo? Like, oh, the category is more on climate change, but you don't know the exact topic on climate change. but at least you know something about climate change. You just played it well. Next question. Maybe this will be the second to the last question. If we are assigned to do an impromptu speech, could you give us tips on how to control our fear and nervousness? Because those things can overpower you during a speech, and it can create a lot of problems. Ay, wala si Sir Leo. Sir Leo, are you still there? Oh, may connection problem po ang Japan? Let's just wait for Sir Leo to come again in our Zoom meeting. Siguro I can siguro we can stop the live now and just wait here for those who are in our Zoom meeting. Ayan! Perfect! Sir Leo, I told them na po di ay internet connect problem ang Japan.
Na-empty ko. Sorry.
Just kidding. Okay, so spotlight again. I'm gonna add you to the spotlight. Yon. Again, Sir Leo, how do you control your fear and nervousness? Because according to C, these will really overpower you when you speak. So
Nice question, no, DM. Could you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I love the question because I also have fears before in speaking, but I think it's very helpful if you keep on practicing as if you're talking in the public. Practice it with your friends or practice it in front of the mirror. And of course, it will not like happen overnight, but again, it's a process. Repeat that process in order for you to gain confidence.
So it's more on the practical way, which is to practice more.
Yeah, I would always tell people to practice because yeah.
On your end, Sir Leo, you have practice with your friends or you face the mirror, and ano ba na mga tips that you'd like to share to them?
Yeah, I always practice in front of the mirror, or every time I go to, even when, sorry for this one, when I go to the toilet, I would always like ask myself, and then I would practice saying, and then if you're not really that confident, I would just ask one friend, ask me, keep on asking me, or then and then you will add another friend or a group of friend like that, or you will record yourself so that you'll be able to know what are the improvements, right, that are needed in order for you to deliver it properly. Because I understand that all these questions you're asking are on the moment, but my answer really is you could actually prepare for these things, right? I mean, you are given time to prepare. So don't rely that okay next month na ami, but every night, or if not every night, every other night, use those times for you to practice.
And maybe this will be the last question, and this is related to what you have experienced and also what you have acquired from the past. Diba, Sir Leo, there is really an advantage if you know how to answer questions promptly or in an impromptu, especially with your academic or exchange programs that you have joined. Can you give us somewhat part, an excerpt of your experience answering impromptu questions?
Okay. This is a very yeah. This is the question. It has something to do with culture. Um, I was asked. I will not just say what program was that, but I was asked, what if your roommate, you've noticed that your roommate is not taking his bath. So, and then you are living, of course, you're living together. And then you've heard many people complaining. So, what will you do? So, I really did not expect that question, but my answer was a bit funny. I don't know. I answer this way. I always respect people's culture. So in that sense, I will talk to him privately, and it should really be private because I don't want to put his image on the pedestal. Like I will talk to him that these opinions come from our other roommates, and I will say that this I respect your culture, but in their culture, they have this kind of opinion regarding your culture. But I always believe that we exist to coexist. So I will just that was my answer. That I will tell it privately, which it really happened to me. Really happened, yeah.
And so, students, there is a practical advantage when you know how to speak well, especially when you apply. Certainly, my students are from STEM, from science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and also for humanities and social sciences. So we expect them to apply for scholarships, for exchange,
Ah,
yeah, for exchange programs. And it's not just about the grades. It's not just about reflecting on your academic papers, but also you will be asked. You have to speak about something else, or you have to answer their questions to gauge their mental alertness. So it's really important, di ba, Sir Leo, to know how to speak in an impromptu way.
yeah, and parang it's like it is expected from STEM majors really to be factual when you deliver your answers.
Yeah, you have to back it up with a lot of evidences, or else you're just murmuring and
Data,
just
data,
reading it.
data.
Yeah. Ayan.